The Business Watch, recent grads rejoice. Research shows employers are expecting to hire even more college graduates this spring than first projected. We're talking 9.6% more from the class of 2015 than companies hired from the class of 2014. So how do you stand out among the crowd? Lewis Douglas from Kavaliro joins us now to talk more about it. So what's the number one thing you would tell someone applying for a job to stand out?
Well, first things first, positive attitude is always a plus.
Positive
right?
energy. Positive energy.
Just put it out there, mood it, right? But definitely a positive energy, positive outlook. Employers like to see people who have that positive energy. You know, they look like maybe a good team player, someone who could be productive and incorporate energy into the team.
Now, obviously, if you're coming from college, you maybe have some internships under your belt. You probably don't have a lot of work experience.
Right.
So what do you leave off of your resume?
Well, you want to leave off, things like hobbies and, your picture and just extra stuff that doesn't necessarily need to be there. But what you can incorporate is just tabulate that experience in your, maybe some projects that you worked on or something, team building, things like that. So utilize the experience that you used and put that forward, when interviewing.
And what about the interview? What are some key things you need to kind of point out on your interview that make you different than the rest of people applying?
Well, definitely, again, using those experiences. So talking about, have one of those, what we call yay me stories, right? Mm-hmm. So situations of how what you did helped the group or was, made things better for the situation.
And also a tip that I learned when I was interviewing when I got out of college is that when someone asks, your future potential employer asks you at the end of the interview, do you have any questions for me?
Right.
It's good to have questions for them, right?
You always want to have questions. And this is where the research comes in, right? Having the research on a company, maybe doing your homework, understanding, the company's history, their mission statement, things like that, so you can bring these things to the table. You always want to have questions that gives them the impression that you're engaged and that you want to be there.
And I always wondered about this. You know how they ask you, what's a weakness of yours? And of course, a lot of people say, oh, I'm just such a perfectionist. And so if I start a project in the morning, I want to get it done by afternoon. Of course, you want to turn a negative into a positive. Right. Is that the way to go? Or are you realistic and say, you know what, I'm a little messy and my desk can be really disorganized? Like, do you go the truthful way or do you turn a negative into a positive?
Well, I would say you make everything positive, right? You want to reflect anything on you as in a good light as possible. So, you hit it right on the head with turning a negative into a positive. Those are the type of things that people want to see. They want to see how do you problem solve. So even though you may be a little messy, through that mess is a ton of great things that you bring to the table. So always just kind of flipping those things and making it a positive should be a good way to get an advantage.
All right, and in working with employers, finding employees for your employers, or for the company that you work for, what would you say is the number one thing people are looking for?
People are looking for, high energy. People are looking for the go-getter. People are looking for the individual that's knowledgeable, that's ready to, be a team player, bring a lot of things to the table, and incorporate high energy into the group.
Self-starter.
Self-starter.
There you go. All right, time now is 8:45. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Lewis. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Back to weather.
Good information, Lewis.